Presenting adding ladders. This is a shortened version of my video solving some First Folio enigmas for those of you who do not have the hour and 15 minutes to watch that one. Adding ladders are based on this idea from John Dee's Mathematical Preface to Euclid. May we be led upward by degrees, so informing our rude imagination towards the conceiving of numbers, absolutely, that at length we may be able to find the number of our own name, gloriously exemplified and registered in the book of the Trinity, most blessed and eternal. And on this idea, also from the Mathematical Preface, arithmetic can detect and convince and clearly make the truth to shine. We're going to be looking mostly at the Catalogue of Plays, which lists all of the plays in the First Folio. Before we begin, please note that the comedies and tragedies could have been put in any order. The history plays follow the historical record from King John to Henry VIII. I will answer these questions in this video. Why does each question start with page 1? Why are there misnumbered pages? Why are there 5 blank pages? Why do only 2 plays have full-page actors lists? Why is Troilus and Cressida not listed in the Catalogue of Plays? Why does Troilus and Cressida not have numbered pages throughout? I will also answer these 2 questions. Why is Cleopatra spelled incorrectly in the Catalogue of Plays, as you see in the little blue box on the lower left? And finally, why does the folio have a quaternion group of 16 pages in the middle when the rest of the book is made up of ternions or groups of 12 pages? Answering the last question will actually answer all the previous questions. Here's what George Watson Cole wrote in his essay, The First Folio of Shakespeare, a further word regarding the correct arrangement of its preliminary leaves, printed in the Proceedings and Papers of the Bibliographical Society of America, Volume 3. The first edition of Shakespeare is a folio volume composed almost wholly of ternions, which are groupings of 3 sheets, each group consisting of 6 leaves or 12 pages. In a single instance in the body of the work, the Histories, there is a quaternion, a gathering of 4 sheets of 8 leaves or 16 pages. Scholars have long puzzled why this is here, or maybe they haven't. However, I believe that this is an allusion to the following. The Moneth Heiroglyphica by John Dee, first published in 1561. In it he writes, Unde quaternarium hictum instramus, in ternario quiescentem. Loosely translated, as per Alexander Waugh and Alan Green, it says the quaternity is concealed within the ternary. Notice that when you put 3 triangles together, there is a 4th hidden triangle in the middle. The quaternion is located in the second part of Henry IV at the signature mark of GG on page 87. The last section of the quaternion is on page 93 with signature mark GG4. This is followed immediately by the first page for Henry V, which begins on page 69 and has the signature collation letter of H. This is the same page as Theorem 20 is in the 1591 edition of the Moneth Heiroglyphica. This cannot be a coincidence, simply because the last part of the quaternion contains a profound truth, as I explained in The Secret Heart of the First Folio. We begin and end a count of titles at the quaternion. There are 17 plays listed before the location of the quaternion, and 17 plays listed after it. This might not be significant to most people, but during the Renaissance, it was a profound place, because to readers and students of classical literature and history, it mimics position of the triumphant emperor in a triumphant procession. This is what I call the triumphal structure. That means the 17 plays listed before the location of the quaternion in the second part of Henry IV represents all the spoils and captives of the triumphant emperor's campaign. The second list of 17 plays represents all the generals, senators, and important figures who supported the emperor. Now we can answer this question. Why is Troilus and Cressida not listed in the Catalogue of Plays? Adding it would disrupt the symmetrical triumphal structure. Adding it would prevent readers from understanding the importance of the number 17. Why are the poems excluded from the First Folio? This is one of the questions I asked when I first got a facsimile of it. Adding them would disrupt the symmetrical triumphal structure, and adding them would prevent readers from understanding the importance of the number 17. Presenting the sightlines. Notice that there is a headpiece ornament on the top of the page. The figure on the left is Cupid before he was infantilized into a cherub. The figure on the right, the second archer, is Heracles. The figure in the middle is Juno sitting on a symbol of fertility. And to either side in the bottom corners are Cali greyhounds, heraldic animals that bore the arms of only one noble family in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. When you look at the sightlines for Cupid and the left-hand Cali greyhound, and you combine it with the sightline from the uppercase T in the Tempest, you'll note that 3 page numbers are targeted. We use a sightline from the uppercase T because, as you notice, the uppercase T in the, for the first part of the title of the Tempest, is lower than necessary. It is level with the bottom of the other letters, thereby creating a sightline that clips the number for the page of Henry V. Notice how all 3 of these sightlines leave the page number where the quaternion is located open and exposed, drawing attention to it. Also notice that the lowercase s in comedies seems to be jostled upward by the sightline from the Cali greyhound, almost as if it's a repulsor ray. Maybe this was designed to draw people's attention to that uppercase S and try and figure out if there's something significant to it. If we take the sightlines as evidence of something important, then that means the sightline for the Cali greyhound on the left jostles the lowercase s in comedies to give us another authorship clue that a puzzle is present. Presenting adding ladders. Like finding a new type of archaeological artifact, this discovery has no precedent that I'm aware of. It appears to be unique to this page. As you can see, to the left of the Catalogue of Plays, we have the catalogue from the works of Ben Jonson in 1616, and to the right we have the Beaumont and Flintshire Catalogue of Plays from 1647. Neither of them have page numbers attached to the plays. It's while looking at this section, the first 4 plays, on the right-hand column of the Catalogue of Plays, that I questioned what was going on. The starting page for Henry V should be page 101. It's while contemplating the Henry trilogy, the first and second parts of Henry IV, plus the life of Henry V, that I stumbled upon something remarkable. Pause here and try and figure it out. If not, I'll give you a hint of the triumphal structure and what it represents. Now I will reveal what I found. The digits 4, 6, and 7, which are the digits in the title page number for the first part of Henry IV and the first part of the page for the second part of Henry IV. 4 plus 6 plus 7, when you add them all together, you get 17. That is the number of plays before and after the quaternion in the catalogue. Also, 6 plus 4 plus 7, they add to 17. And 7 plus 4 plus 6, 17. Finally, going vertically down the left-hand column, 4 plus 7 plus 6 is again 17. What I have discovered are 4 permutations of the digits that add to the same target number, which equals the number of plays listed before the location of the quaternion and the number of plays listed after the location of the quaternion. These last 2 permutations are why Henry V had to begin on page 69 rather than 101. It was quite a while after I discovered this that I finally clicked what is going on. This is another quaternary concealed within a ternary, just like the quaternion in the physical book. 4 permutations hidden within 3 digits and 4 permutations hidden within 3 play titles. And the number 6 is essential to those 2 puzzles. And the lowercase letters in the first 2 titles are hints to pay attention, as is the page number for Henry VI, because the page number 69 is a mirror of 96. I found there are many more examples, and they follow the 4 simple rules. You add individual digits. You can use digits more than once. The digits must touch each other horizontally and or vertically, and the sum must be the target number. Here are some examples from the comedies. The Merry Wives of Windsor begins on page 38. Measure for Measure begins on page 61. 3 plus 8 is 11, plus 6 is 17. If we use the last digit in Measure for Measure and add it to the digits in Comedy of Errors, Much Ado About Nothing, and the first digit for Love's Labour's Lost, we get 17 again. We use all 9 digits in the title page numbers for Much Ado About Nothing, Love's Labour Lost, and Midsummer Night's Dream to get our target number. I call these a perfect sum step because all of the digits are used. Here is a chart showing you all of the puzzles I found in the titles of the comedy section. The 3 permutations in ellipses underneath the red arrows share the same numbers, 3, 6, and 8. Notice how the puzzles descend like steps in a ladder. So why is Cleopatra spelled incorrectly in the Catalogue of Plays? Notice also that Cleopater has a larger sized uppercase C. Compare the sizes for the C in the Comedy of Errors. The question I asked myself when I looked at this was, does Antony and Cleopatra start on page 346? Looking in the First Folio, you find it begins on page 340. So does the play actually begin on 346? Is that number correct? Or is the number correct in the book itself? Othello ends on page 339. Therefore, the catalog entry is wrong. And this represents 3 mistakes for another example of the tria sunt omnia principle, in which a triple repetition of something, an idea or word, signifies that something important is hidden within this section. So we have 3 mistakes. First, the wrong page number. Second, Cleopatra is spelled incorrectly as Cleopater. Third, the compositor has used the wrong size of uppercase C to spell the name. The next question to ask is Othello correct? Does it really begin on page 310? Yes, it does. But that brings us to another interesting enigma, presenting the Hamlet, Lear, and Othello enigma. King Lear and Othello create another perfect step adding letter because all of their digits add to 17. 2, 8, 3, 3, 1, 0. The next logical question to ask is, does King Lear really begin on page 283? Yes, it does. But there is a catch. The 4th page in Hamlet is page 156. And the page opposite that is numbered 257. So why did the compositor skip 101 pages, 101 numbers? It turns out that if he had not skipped 101 digits, or 100 digits, Lear would not have begun on page 283 as it does in the text. We can conclude that these are intentional. Hamlet's skip page numbers enabled the compositor to start King Lear on page 283, thereby creating a perfect adding ladder with the starting page for Othello. Cleopatra is spelled incorrectly to draw attention to the wrong page number in the catalog. Here are the charts. Here's the chart for the tragedies. As you can see, Antony and Cleopatra form a perfect step adding ladder. What we see in the histories adding ladders is a very bizarre adding ladder for number 6. And one thing that I did is I added 173 plus 2 plus 4. And what I found was that it adds up to a very interesting number. I'll let you figure it out. Also, the shape of this is the same as an upside-down Tau cross, possibly hinting that God had a hand in creating this text. There are 43 adding ladders, and in the Latin alphabet repeating count, the number 43 has a letter value of V. This does not seem like another coincidence. After I discovered the adding ladders, I also found that the sections are connected by bridges. The digits for the 2 gentlemen of Verona, when added to the last 2 digits in Cymbeline, add to 17. The digits for the page numbers for the Winter's Tale, King John, Richard II, added to the first digit of Henry IV, also add to 17. And the histories are connected to the tragedies through the page numbers for Henry VIII, Coriolanus, Titus Andronicus, and the first digit for Romeo and Juliet. All of the plays are connected by the number 17 in the form of simple adding puzzles. What does it all mean? Why does each section begin with page 1? Why are there misnumbered pages? Why are there 5 blank pages? Why are the full-page actors list for only 2 plays? Why is Troilus and Cressida not listed in the Catalogue of Plays? And why does Troilus and Cressida not have numbered pages throughout? The first question can be answered so that the adding ladder puzzles could be created, and so that page numbers for the titles will match those in the Catalogue of Plays. Unlike what Sir Israel Gollant said in the introduction to Studies in the First Folio, where he said, "It seems quite likely that the original plan was to issue the collection in 3 folio volumes." Sorry, Sir Israel. The presence of the adding letters makes that a wrong conclusion. Why are there misnumbered pages? So that page numbers for the titles will match those in the Catalogue of Plays. Why are there 5 blank pages? And why do only 2 plays have full-page actors lists? The idea was to increase the number of pages so that no text had to be removed. These 4 questions can be answered by the same answer, so that the page numbers for the titles will match those in the Catalogue of Plays. Why is Troilus and Cressida not listed? In order that the Catalogue of Plays has a symmetrical triumphal structure, so there are 17 plays listed before the second part of Henry IV, and second plays listed after it. Henry IV Part 2 is the location of the only quaternion in the book. The number of plays is a clue. The number of 17 is important throughout the folio. Why does Troilus and Cressida not have numbered pages throughout? The numbering would interfere with the adding ladder puzzle scheme. Why is Cleopatra spelled incorrectly in the catalogue? To draw readers' attention to the page number for the play, then figure out why it is misnumbered in the catalogue. And finally, question number 8. Why does the folio have a quaternion in the middle when the rest of the book is made up of ternions? To allude to John Dee's theorem, the quaternity is concealed within the ternary from his book, Monas Heiroglyphica, and in particular, page 69, where the theorem appears in the 1591 edition, and to let folio readers know that an important truth is hidden within the quaternion. There is proof. All the title pages share a single trait. Horace Hart, in a letter to Sir Sidney Lee, as quoted on page 24 of the introduction to the facsimile edition of the First Folio, published by Oxford at 1902, the rules used for borders, columns, and headlines were mostly brass, and the expert will notice here and there in the center column rule little projections made by the bodkin of the compositor in correcting the proof. Nor will he overlook the fact that, in pages beginning plays, brass was not used for the center column rules, but pieces of metal rule were used instead, doubtless with a view of saving the cutting of the longer brasses. Here are some random examples from some plays. Hamlet has 15 tiny pieces of metal rule. The arrows show the gaps between them. Imagine doing that for all 36 plays. Around 432 pieces of metal would have been used, and 95 are shown here. How much time would it take? Here we see only 3 of the 5 or 6 people who would be operating a single press. Jaggard had about 4 presses. We know he had at least 3, and they would all be running at the same time. I estimate that around 50 people would be employed at any time during the production of the First Folio. How much time would it take? And what would happen if any of those small rules would have been jostled out of place? Or what if a page full of text would have been dropped accidentally? It would have taken hours to repair. I believe the title pages were set before the rest of the text and stored off-site until the book was ready to go to print. But the page numbers for the title pages would match the numbers in the Catalogue of Plays. This explains why the title pages have small metal rules for center columns. And this includes Troilus and Cressida. This is proof the play was to be included from the beginning. Presenting puzzles by the number. We have 43 adding ladders and 3 adding bridges. Sections linked by the number 17, title page digit sums, misnumbered pages, and title pages set before the text. This is evidence that Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford, was Shakespeare. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.